Part 17. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 161. SGH. Oreki wrote letters on the ground with sticks. Letters can be used to refer to certain words. The classmate hurriedly went to translate. The classmates were shocked when they saw this answer. And Kamuro looked over. But this classmate had already quickly erased the letters Oreki had written. And Oreki-san returned to where he was, thinking. What are you thinking about? Kamuro-kun seemed a little curious. Actually, he wanted to know what he just wrote on the ground that could shock that Banlieue sect person so much. Oreki. Think about something important. Oreki turned on the system prompts. Side mission. Task requirement. In the small island exam, get the initiative of Class D and turn Class D into a cash machine. Remaining period of task, 3 days. Task reward, recovery ability is improved, and the period of healing ability will be extended. Mission punishment, when using clairvoyance, your eyes will become cross-eyed, and your charm value will be reduced by 20. Task progress, 75%. Judging from the system prompts, the task went smoothly. It settled. But what he cared about was the news that Kamuro and Katsuragi-san had discovered. Sophomores and juniors received a large number of class evaluation points and private points during special exams this month as freshmen. In other words, now the only thing you can get from the Kojima exam is the class evaluation score. Although he can still get a share from Class D. But that was just his operation, and it was certainly not a plan that Nagamo and Horikita Manabu could obtain. So how did Nagamo and Horikita Manabu get a lot of points? And he still remembered what Mr. Majima said when he informed them of the exam rules on the ship. Then from now on, the first special examination of this month will be held. The time is a full week from now on June 16 to noon on June 22 ND. You are going to live together on this uninhabited island for a week. What needs attention is the first special exam this month. In other words, is there also a second special exam this month? Although I still don't know the rules, purpose, direction, requirements, etc. of the exam. But this is an opportunity to score huge points. And when you don't know the rules at all you can do is copy Naun. Nagayuna's second grader always treated the school like a cash machine, no matter what test the school gave her. Then representatives of the 4 classes stood together to discuss how to take the exam. It is equivalent to a direct open book exam. So they can get returns that satisfy them. And now, since this time it is customary for the exam, the school is also willing to casually rub the school's wool this time. So you can take advantage of it. So when the test questions are unknown, the person who needs to control them first is the examinee, right? Only. Fortunately for Class D, Takahiraji has done it, and even though Horikita-san can't get the initiative, she can still get some say, and Kushida-san can also give her a sweet date later. As for Class A, as long as Class A's status is guaranteed, the students in the class won't say anything. Therefore, it would be more careful to obtain at least one more class's control or cooperation. So, how can this kind of class be so easy to find? As for Class B and Class C, these 2 classes are unique. As for Long Yuan, if you tell the other party that you can operate together, you will probably get angry. As for Ichi-nose from Class B, actually Kamuro-san reported. I saw Ichi-nose from Class B getting wet in the rain. Is it raining, Ichi-nose? Oreki-san looked over. Maesumi Kamuro nodded seriously. It seems like there was a spy in their class at noon. Probably the leader card was taken. And I+. Go and inquire about it, Kamuro-san said. And the inquiry here is very spiritual. And she lowered her voice as expected. Ibuki is a spy who took a picture of Class B's leader card and ran away. Then when I went to guard the beach, I found that she had abandoned the boat and even the camera was thrown directly into the sea. Oh! What a great job! So Ichi-nose must be feeling desperate now while being soaked in the rain. Oreki-san thought. Kushida-san said that people are trash, and then they ask for others, which is bad. But Oreki-san thinks that there is one person who might not be. That is Hanami Ichi-nose. Because she's not that kind of person, that's why she's going to get exposed to the rain now and punish herself. For Ichi-nose, it has been more than 2 months since he came to this school. But Class B has almost no record to show for it. Yes. In the written test last month, Class B got full marks. But Class A and Class C also got it. So, their results were not spectacular. But this time in the exam, I was almost in a miserable position. Not only did I encounter the tragic situation of walking around desperately on the first day and making everyone in the class cry, but I was also unable to gain any advantage in occupying the stronghold in the follow-up. The only one who wanted to occupy the stronghold left by Ryuan was ended up having their camp cleared by Gao Yuan Temple and then relocated in the middle of the night. It can be said. You must be in a bad mood. And when he saw Ibuki being beaten on the ship, he was still so concerned that he now takes him in. Respect each other sincerely, only to be betrayed. At the same time, it will also bring huge losses to the class. So, only Class B, only Ichi-nose's heart is raining. Not only was it raining, but it was raining masochistically. Oreki-san. When Oreki walked out of the cave, a classmate happened to be walking towards the cave from the camp holding an umbrella. Lend me your umbrella. The other party just came in from outside and was about to close the umbrella. Good. This classmate has no objection. He is a classmate of the Katsuragi faction. But that doesn't matter. Because in this exam, Class A can be so stable, and even get 400 points according to Katsuragi-san's prediction, which means that Class A is more stable. Oreki-san contributed a lot to this. So, he was also very grateful to Oreki. Only, if you lend Oreki your umbrella, what will he do? Very simple. It's just using other people's things and borrowing flowers to offer to Buddha. At the same time, I also found the useful class I was just thinking about and looking for. Chapter 079. Who told you that it would be difficult to control Ichi-nose? Kamuro-san is very useful in reporting and collecting information. Of course, she felt a little guilty for caring so much about Ibuki's movements. Oreki had already taken her to check the camera and walkie-talkie that Ibuki had buried. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 162. It shows that Ibuki really wants to cause trouble. So, if Ibuki is in Class A now, and if the information about Class A's leader is leaked, then I'm afraid she will be the one to be isolated in the rain. Not the current Hanami Ichi-nose. Maesumi Kamuro is responsible for taking care of Itaiji at school. Certainly. On rainy days, she was the one who helped Sakayanagi hold the umbrella, and she looked like she was holding 2 umbrellas by herself. After seeing Oreki-san walking out, she thought about it and followed him. It was also the information she reported about Ichi-nose. So it is possible that he saw Ichi-nose getting caught in the rain and then came to the cave of Class A. Then, Oreki-san let Kamuro-san lead the way. Ahead, a girl with long pink hair was seen in the woods. Kamuro doesn't hate Ichi-nose, or in other words, Ichi-nose is a very righteous, smart, and friendly person. Ichi-nose has many friends, but Kamuro-kun, who doesn't like to socialize, also has Ichi-nose's number on his cell phone. It shows that she is also one of Ichi-nose's many friends. The rain curtain became heavier and heavier. And Ichi-nose Hanami was in the rain, but she didn't hold any umbrella, and she had no intention of avoiding the rain. She just walked slowly in one direction with her eyes losing focus. but there was probably no one waiting for her ahead. Not to mention this self-abuse, even among the classmates on this small island, no one wanted to see her committing such self-abuse. Itchy Nose was indeed abusing himself. Otherwise her eyes wouldn't look like this. I tried to let her hide from the rain, but she refused, Kamuro-san said. Oh. That's why she came to report Ichino's situation to Oreki. Oreki-san discovered that Kamuro-san also had his own desires. So Oreki-san looked at Kamuro-san and said, listen up. When you see people who are getting wet in the rain, you don't just have to show your care by handing out an umbrella to them. Sometimes you can save the other person by putting away your umbrella and going through the rain with them. Is it so exaggerated? Kamuro felt a little surprised. Because Oreki actually used the word rescue. The word salvation. Yes. Oreki witnessed the scene where Shirami-san confessed his love to Itchy Nose, and then heard words like, but I'm not such a good person, I'm not worthy, from Itchy Nose's mouth. In other words, Itchy Nose was probably denying himself because of something. Or she won the first place in the written test of the entrance exam, and her affinity was at its maximum, not inferior to Kushida at all. She would be assigned to Class B instead of Class A. Probably there are some things that cannot be told to others. And because you have such a past, you encounter setbacks continuously, and if you don't pay attention, you may become autistic. So the word salvation is used. And if nothing happens, then Itchy Nose will be autistic. Itchy Nose is the representative of Class B, and if she can be driven, then Class B can be arranged. Very beneficial. This is business. Certainly. In private, Itchy Nose is a completely different archangel from Kushida-san. Anyone who sees it will want to protect her. Oreki-san thought to himself. So after pushing Kamuro-san aside, Oreki walked towards Itchy Nose Hanami. It's raining in the sky, but it's also raining inside. Don't you think this feels terrible? Houtarou. Oreki walked over. Oreki-san. Itchy Nose recognized Oreki's voice. But she didn't look back. Please leave me alone, she said. I want to be alone. Regardless of who Jingjing was, Oreki covered her with an umbrella. Perhaps because he felt that the rain above was blocked, Itchy Nose finally turned his head. Thanks, but I don't want this. Itchy Nose said, I want to clear my mind, so Oreki-san can just leave me alone. Really? She was punishing herself by doing this. Is it because of this exam? Or is it because after enrolling, I discovered the differences in this school, but did not remind the students as quickly as possible? In the end, the class evaluation scores in the first month were deducted so much. Then for this time, I didn't prepare well for the small island exam, so I took everyone with me to walk 20,000 steps on the first day. Everyone is exhausted. Or, in the end, you rejected my reminder and chose to clear the stronghold in Longyuan, and then had to move out of the camp overnight. And then, he didn't realize at all that he had been accepting spies from Class C, which eventually led to the class being severely deducted and getting further and further away from Class A. Oreki asked 3 questions in a row, but Itchy Nose didn't answer any of them and just closed his eyes in pain. Yes. She was in pain. Each of these experiences, spoken out, silenced her. She felt that she might not be suitable to lead everyone forward. It was originally discovered that Ibuki had secretly photographed the team leader's card, and then the team leader's information was leaked. This was just one thing, plus the consecutive losses since enrolling, it all added up. Then, this is what happened to Itchy Nose Hanami. She collapsed. I'm thinking, she said, whether I am suitable to continue to be the representative of Class B. I am a student of Class A. If Class B collapses, it will be a good thing for us, Oreki. Houtarou said. But Itchy Nose, are you sure you want to end it before it even starts? Kushida-san told me that people are trash. They all need to be plundered, which is essentially a very bad side. But Ichi-nose, I think you are different. When it comes to Shiranami-san's affairs, you will think a lot and put yourself in other people's shoes. I don't want to give up any feelings either. I hope you can find a solution to maintain everything good, even if you don't hesitate to check Baika's notebook that you may not pay attention to. In the end you succeeded. Classmate Baibo's relationship with you has not faded, and we have successfully maintained our friendship as friends. So, you have made such an effort, and you want to give up. Ichi-nose. Such comfort seems to be of no use. So Oreki-san put the umbrella away. It seems that you are not willing to hold an umbrella, so I will go with you. Etc. Ichi-nose immediately raised his head and said, you don't have to accompany me like this. If it's because of the failure in this exam, then I also bear part of the responsibility. Oreki said, I sent Ibuki to your class. And if I hadn't sent Ibuki here dash. Well, that's not the case. Ichi-nose shook his head. Who would have thought that Class C would actually use the bitter meat trick to do such a thing, and the person who took away Class C's supplies was also our class. Ichi-nose-san denied that this time Class B's defeat was caused by Oreki-san. It would be better to say that they still don't know people. And far away. Kamuro-san was watching here alone, holding an umbrella. The rain was a bit heavy, but some faint sounds could still be heard. And Kamuro-san found that he remembered a few points. 1. Did Ichi-nose actually discover the difference in this school soon after enrolling? 2. Ichi-nose is reading the Pika book. What is the Pika book? 3. Ichi-nose is denying that it was Oreki's fault that a spy appeared in his class. But Ichi-nose-san, Oreki Houtarou found out that Ibuki was a spy early on, and sent it to your class specially. But with the style of little angels in Class B, even if they knew that the other party was a spy, they wouldn't just ignore it. At the same time, Class B had already taken in a Canada before Ibuki. So even if Ibuki can't get through, just Canada can get the information about the leader of Class B. Therefore, it was inevitable that Class B's leader would be leaked. And how to persuade Ichi-nose? Think so. She noticed that Oreki-san made a new move. The final result is this, so if it is punishment, then I will accept the punishment. With that said, Oreki stood next to Ichi-nose. He stood still and let the rain fall on him. No, Oreki-san, you really don't have to do this. Ichi-nose noticed his movements. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 163. Then why are you doing this? Oreki looked directly into Ichi-nose's eyes. Then opened the umbrella again. It's easy to catch a cold after self-abuse. Or do you want me to catch a cold with you? Boom. Ichi-nose snorted softly. Oreki-kun, you are really bad. Then go and take a rest first, take a hot bath first, change into dry clothes, and then drink some ginger water. If your body is damaged, everyone who cares about you and worries about you, everyone will sad. Really are. For the first time, an expression appeared on Ichi-nose's face. Because when he said such words, didn't she just not be able to resist? Hanamai Ichi-nose. She is a good old lady. Kind person. She cannot forgive or allow others to feel sad for her. So, I'm not here to hear about your personal affairs, Ryuan Xiang said. Why do all three classes know that I am the team leader? And my humming name was filled in all of them. Ryuan looked dissatisfied. Personal affairs or something. Even Ichi-nose Hanamai, who was good at socializing and quite sunny at the same time, couldn't help but blush. However, the students in Class B are very grateful to Oreki-san in Class A. Because they didn't realize that Ichino-san put all the responsibility on himself and then went to be punished by being exposed to the rain. This is very distressing. Some students were also worried about whether her body was damaged or something. Because Ryuan complained, and Ichino recalled the scene at that time. Because she was worried about causing worries to her classmates, Kamuro-san lent her dry clothes. Then he took her to the shower room of Class A's camp for a hot bath. She changed into Kamuro-san's clothes. "Are you feeling uncomfortable?" Kamuro-san asked. "I always feel like my sweatshirt is a little tight," Ichino said. "Ah, no." It seemed that she noticed that Kamuro-san's expression turned bad, so she quickly changed her tune. "Anyway, thank you, Kamuro-kun. In fact, she is also very innocent. Obviously it wouldn't be like this in junior high school, but between the third year of junior high school and the time between the first year of high school, my body has developed." This made it even more difficult for her, who was not good at sports. "But, where is Oreki-san?" "The place where Ichino is now is one of Class A's camps. The students of Class A pitched their tents here. However, because of the rain, most of the remaining students in the camp stayed in their tents. Maesumi Kamuro took Ichino to a tent to hide from the rain. There was only one girl from Class A inside. This girl is from the Sakayanagi school." Although Ichino was a little surprised to see Ichino was very popular, and some people also witnessed Ichino and Sakayanagi going shopping together at 7 o'clock in the evening, so she didn't have much to say. "Lower your sense of presence and sit inside." Look, he's back." Kamuro-san had a straight face. Then he and Ichino looked over and saw that Oreki-san had brought back a cute girl with short blonde hair under an umbrella. "That is the little angel of Class D, Kushida Kikyo." "Ichino-san." Kushida-san came over quickly. "If you get caught in the rain, you have to deal with it quickly. We happened to be making soup at camp, so I took some boiling water and boiled ginger brown sugar." Kushida-san handed Ichino a small thermos cup. Thank you, Kushida-san." Ichino thanked him quickly. It seems that Kushida-san and Ichino also have a good relationship. After all, these are the two angels in the first grade. Kushida was specially called here by Oreki. The theory was that Ichino-san was caught in the rain and was worried that she would catch a cold, so Kushida immediately went to prepare ways to keep out the cold. It seems that he really wants to gain favor with Ichino. And Oreki also had her purpose. So now that everyone is here, it will be easier to handle. "There is a spy in Ichino's class," Oreki-san said. "And now?" Oreki said. "Ichino, I can temporarily sign a friendly alliance contract with you. It allows you to minimize your losses. Can we try to reduce losses as much as possible?" Ichino held the thermos cup sent by Kushida-san. "Yes," Oreki said. "Or you can get no points deducted from your class. There are two options that can be dealt with. One of them is the plan currently being used by Class D," Oreki said. "And Kushida came here with me just now." "She probably doesn't know yet," Oreki said. "The Ishizaki Daiichi taken in by Class D is also a spy arranged by Class C. The purpose is to obtain information about the leader of Class D." Kushida-san looked at Oreki with surprised eyes for a moment. "Is Ishizaki-san a spy? But doesn't he have injuries from Ryuan's beating? And, he left directly yesterday," Kushida said. "If he's a spy, that's bad." And this time everyone understood. Class C should prepare for this exam. Spies were sent to Class B and Class D respectively. As for Class A, when the students of Class A learned that the students of Class C had abstained from voting that day, they met Ibuki on the way back to the base. Then Ibuki was also brought to the camp. Although Ibuki was later transferred to Class B by Oreki-san. And Ibuki? Well, the person from the Sakayanagi faction who has no one in the tent now feels lucky. Class A escaped the spy attack this time. By the way, isn't Class C terrible? Previously, Hashimoto-san from the Itayanaga faction said that he easily obtained a spy from Class C. But looking at it now, the spy of Class C was instantly unstable. Because the students in Class C seem to be better at acting than them. It seems like we need to take a good look at the situation first. And Oreki looked at Kushida-san. Then what did you see Takaharaji-san doing before you came here? Forward. Kojinji-san has been soaking in the water since yesterday, Kushida said. Soaked in water, Ichi-nose was puzzled. Well, he's been soaking in the pool at the back of the camp since midnight, Kushida said. It's raining now, but he's still in the pool. And this is the solution, Oreki-san said. And Ichi-nose, your class can follow suit. This is Ichi-nose seemed to have not yet reacted. Oreki looked at Kamuro-san. Kamuro-san was puzzled, and then quickly discovered that the direction Oreki was looking at was behind her, which was the material exchange manual distributed by the school to each class. There are also corresponding rules for the exam. 1. A dedicated leader card is required when occupying a stronghold. 2. You will get a reward point every time you occupy it. You can freely use captured strongholds. 3. If you use a stronghold occupied by another class without permission, you will be punished accordingly if you stay too long. 4. The leader card can be used only by the person who is the leader. 5. The team leader cannot be changed without valid reasons. Kojinji is a very smart man, Oreki said. He must get the reward points from the stronghold this time. And one thing you may know is that when Gao Yuanji goes to swipe his credit card, he doesn't have any scruples or cover up. Saying this, Oreki looked at Ichi-nose. Ichi-nose nodded. She had similar words in her previous conversation with Oreki-san. Yuanji swiped the card without any regard. Therefore, many people doubt whether Kojinji is the leader of Class D. Only the team leader can swipe the card, so Gao Yuanji-san did not violate the rules by swiping the card. But on the 7th day of the exam, tomorrow morning, there will be a team leader guessing session. If the identity of the team leader is guessed, the bonus points for all the strongholds he farmed will be cleared. So he was prepared. And what he's doing is point 5. The team leader cannot be changed without valid reasons. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 164. Oreki said. So what if it's illness? What about force majeure of the body? This is changing the team leader for the right reasons. So, Kao Yuanji-san is preparing to replace the leader of Class D. And the time to change it is probably when the exam ends tomorrow morning. Oreki-san said. So Ichi-nose, you can follow suit. Ibuki knows the information about your class leader, but as long as your class leader also gets force majeure illness, then you can apply to change the leader. Because the team leader has been changed, the information Ibuki and the others got has no meaning, Oreki said. That is to say Ichi-nose had already reacted. This is to make the leader of my class sick. The weather is perfect now, Oreki said. You don't need to soak in the water like at Kojinji. You can just put on thick wet clothes and get wet in the rain. Ichi-nose nodded. Then he seemed to think about it for a while. Indeed, the current panic in Class B is because the identity of the team leader has been leaked. Classmate Baibo kept crying and felt that she was too relaxed. Then she did not take the team leader card seriously, and eventually the team leader's information was leaked. But Ichi-nose cannot shirk responsibility. Their Class B shower room is not official. Instead, they set up a shelf by hand, and then spliced and cut large garbage bags provided by the school for free to serve as curtains. So there is no place to hang clothes in the shower room. So only leave clothes outside the shower. That is to say, too frugal. As long as there was a place to hang clothes in the shower room, Ibuki couldn't easily get it. So Itchy Nose felt that he also needed to be responsible. But being sick is not a pleasant experience. And if it was because of this illness that it brought about the root cause of the disease, wouldn't I be very sorry for Bibo? So now the question before Itchy Nose is whether classmates or grades are more important. As long as the team leader is changed, Class B does not need to bear the risk of the team leader leaking. Are there any other plans? Itchy Nose asked. And this plan is the current plan. Ryuan Sho was guessed by 3 classes that he was the leader of Class C. Long Yuan complained. He knew why the leader of Class D had changed from the guy from Juyuanji to Wang Miu. I feel like Itchy Nose finally got to the point. Then he began to listen. Then there's another plan, Oreki said. Itchy Nose, you don't accept the proposal that your classmates are sick. Then the only way is to accept the loss caused by being guessed as the leader of your class. But you're in luck. The ones here now are my students from Class A, and Kushida-san is a student from Class D. Juyuan Temple only needs 600 points in this exam. So, there is no need for Juyuanji and I to guess your leader's information. So, your class will be responsible for at most 50 points for Class C guessing the team leader's information, as well as the loss of the points for occupying the stronghold, Oreki-san said. For it. That little score for occupying the stronghold. Indeed. This time, Class B only occupied 1 stronghold. Although they wanted to occupy the stronghold that Ryuan had brushed in the middle, they were quickly fooled by the teachings of Juyuanji. Moved overnight. Therefore, considering everyone's fatigue, Itchy Nose and the others did not continue to compete with Class D for a stronghold. Look at it this way. Class B's bonus points for occupying the stronghold are very low. Plus they will have to do it again tomorrow morning, it will only be 18 points. So the loss is 50 add 18 equals 68 points. So it's really not big. Moreover, you can get extra points as much as possible. Oreki said. And that's why I invited Kushida-san over. Tomorrow's team leader guessing session, I hope you will also write down Long Yuan's name. Ryuan. Why? Aren't their classes complete? Kushida-san said. Class C has abstained. But Ibuki, Kaneda, Ishizaki Daiichi, and the others are still staying on the island, aren't they? It is now confirmed that they are all spies. Then a person who can arrange spies and make such arrangements, do you think he has given up on the exam? No. This is not to give up on the exam, but rather to use your own understanding to answer the exam. And there is only one person who can drive Kaneda, Ishizaki Daiichi, and Ibuki at the same time. The tyrant of Class C, Ryuan Sho. In other words, this is what everyone guessed about Long Yuan. Yes. They all planned to arrange spies, would Ryuan just choose to go back to the small ship to enjoy it? I must continue taking the exam. So, the probability that the leader of Class C is Ryuan is very high. Not to mention, when he just learned some of the rules for the exam, Ryuan from Class C took the initiative to find Class B. Made a move to voluntarily use up the basic points. Ryuan has ambitions to climb up. Everyone knows this. And now look. Ryuan was trying to collect points from Class B every month, and then also wanted to get the points for guessing the team leader. Then it's also the 5th point in the manual. The team leader cannot be changed without justifiable reasons, so even if the whole class abstains, Class C cannot arbitrarily give up the team leader. The team leader must stay on the island and continue the exam, Oreki added. Then, the next day's team leader guessing session. When everyone discovered that the space for guessing the leader of Class C was not crossed out but could be filled in. Then, involuntarily, he wrote the name of Ryuan Sho. And this is how Ryuan was guessed correctly as the team leader by all 3 classes. What bad luck, Long Yuan said. Therefore, the reason why he lost so miserably was because Oreki Houtarou guessed that he was on the island, so he invited everyone to write his name. Because 3 classes guessed the team leader correctly, he could only get 0 points in addition to 0 points. But I believe your shit. Ryuan finished listening to Ichino's narration. His biggest flaw is his absolute control, so after using Ibuki and the others as spies, it can be confirmed that he did not give up on the exam. Why are you still working so hard because you gave up on the exam? This is unreasonable. Therefore, as long as in the team leader guessing session, the blank space for the team leader's name in the column of Class C to which he belongs can still be filled in. This means that the leader of Class C did not abstain. In other words, when the students in all other classes discovered that the leader of Class C could still guess, they confirmed that he was still on the island. So it makes sense to fill in his name. And this is 50 points for nothing. There is no reason not to fill in the form for Class A, Class B and Class D. However, Long Yuan was convinced but not convinced at all by this explanation. Because this is quite careful speculation. The result is obtained by analyzing the facts and his character. But that's what he thought. Back in school, that guy Oreki Houtarou showed up with Horikita Suzun and asked him about the points in his hand. Then he reported a figure of 800,000. Result: the other party directly recruited Gao Yuanji from Class D to play him. In other words, it was expected that he would bully Houtarou because he was angry at Oreki, and he expected that he would find someone else to take out his anger on. So, the results of this exam will be like this. I'm afraid it wasn't Oreki Houtarou who saw Ibuki appearing in Class A. Oh no, maybe he was seen through by insight when he looked like giving up. And now the result. Although Class D has risen, it is still far away from Class A. But if he wants to climb up, he can only keep fighting against Class B and Class D rushing up. At the same time, Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 165. He rules by violence. As a result, once the government came to power, Class B was also guaranteed a monthly living allowance of 600,000 yuan. But because the class was pulled down, the advantage gained became less good. He will still be criticized by his classmates. So, it's all in your calculations. Ryuan thought so, and then looked in the direction of Class A. Ryuan. But at this time, the digital teacher on the board came over. We lost this test. And there is some sad news, the number on the board said. What? Long Yuan thinks the current situation can get any worse. Although you suffered a lot in this exam, I also see your determination. But, because of the bitter flesh trick, Ibuki and Ishizaki Kaneda were convinced by the students of Class B that you bullied them. So I asked Class B's homeroom teacher Hashinomi Yachie to record their injuries. They decided to report it as soon as they got off the ship. And based on my experience, this time, the class deduction will be 100 points. Class C couldn't get points in this small island test where points can be pulled, so the class evaluation score remained at the original level of 490 points. But if you deduct another 100 points, only 390 points left. The value of 390 points is very subtle. It's also difficult to get points from students to fund operations. So, is this another army being captured? Ryuan didn't even show a shocked expression when he announced the exam results. But now, covering his forehead with one hand. Because, can it still be like this? Or, Houtarou Oreki asked him to point points at first, but in the end he got Takahiraji to fight and act with him. In the end, he used points to calm down the fight. But it also left a record in the student union. However, because of this case record, things will become serious. Because what he is doing now is committing the crime again. Long Yuan knew that after this exam, he would commit the crime again because he had a criminal record. Then he won't be able to use violence in the near future. Otherwise, continuous violations may result in expulsion from school. Or, Oreki-san just discovered that he was ruling Class C with violence, and that violence was what he was best at, so he sealed him away in this way. Ryuan Sho looked in the direction of Class A. But Oreki-san had already started walking towards the boat with his classmates. The Kojima exam is over. Because the exam was over, Oreki Houtarou stretched himself. Along with all the students. Returned to the ship. So, all the students boarded the boat and returned to the ship. But, while preparing to board the ship, "Gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome to our winning feast." The golden retriever that Ryuan had been unable to find, claiming to be the most beautiful, and a tall boy full of confidence stood on the deck of the ship, holding red wine. The waiter who followed him showed a troubled expression. Jiyuan Temple is still the same as before. But, our winning feast? Oreki-san was getting on the boat when he heard Kojinji's voice. So, he thought about it? Yes. And he noticed that Horikita-san probably had something to say about this. Because the final score obtained by Class D was 50 points higher than the initial score of 600. And the reason for this 50 is still because, after getting on the ship, Horikita-san stood aside. But the little angel with short blonde hair was surrounded by people. So this time our class got 650 points. Although 500 points will be deducted from Horikita-san and Takahiraji-san. But we can also score 150 points. That is to say, I guessed the leader of a class correctly and got extra points. Wang Miu said, "That is the name of Class C Ryuan that you proposed to write, Kushida-san." So I added 50 points. In this way, each of our students can get an additional 5,000 yuan for living expenses every month. Thank you so much, Kushida-san. Horikita Susan held her right hand with her left hand and stared at Kushida, who was surrounded in front of her. Kushida-san, who was surrounded, showed a cute expression, and seemed to like this kind of life, being surrounded. The popularity seems to have increased. And Horikita Susan doesn't want to be popular. She received a share of Oreki-san's reward for this exam. 10% bonus. Oreki received a class evaluation score of 300 points from Class D. According to the rules, she will be given 10%, which is 30 points. However, Kushida guessed that he got 50 points for the leader of Class C or something. She confirmed that this was definitely not something Kushida could have guessed on his own. In other words, Kushida's actions were ordered by Houtarou Oreki. That is to say, she only had 30 points, but Kushida had 50 points. Horikita Susan was comparing how different she was from Kushida, and how she would be treated like this by Oreki Houtarou. She knew that Kushida had recently used beauty attacks on Oreki Houtarou. Oreki-san also came to her for help. Therefore, holding hands every day on the island increases the opponent's experience value in resisting Kushida's attacks. Result: holding hands so many times. This is the result. Was Oreki Houtarou still captured by Kushida? Horikita Susan hated doing useless work. Horikita-san. Kushida-san finally managed to get out of the crowd of classmates. Then he said hello to Horikita. "Are you interested in having dinner together later?" Kushida asked. Everyone seems to want to have a celebration party. This exam is indeed very exciting for Class D. Although 500 points were divided among them, next month, all Class D students will be able to afford food. So this is a celebration party. Then Kushida came to invite. Not interested. Horikita Susan said. At the same time, I felt that my body seemed to be a little unwell. I didn't hold hands with Oreki Houtarou today. But the body seems to be a little heavy. It seemed like the illness I felt during those 2 days on the ship. Chapter 080 Yuzusaka Yanagi is calling you. The examination for preferential treatment candidates begins. Go. Oreki-san also returned to the luxury liner. Ordinary students need a room for 3 people, and because of the points he spent, his room is a single room or a double room. Lie down on a comfortable bed. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 166. He took out his cell phone. When everyone was sitting on the boat heading to the ship, the head teachers of each class had already returned the mobile phones they had saved to the students. Oreki-san also clicked on his phone. Open the column for student ID card. Name, Houtarou Oreki. Student ID, 100-861-0010. Class, Grade A, First Grade. Private account, 3,123,500 points. The restarted phone is also plain and simple. As the wealthiest person in the grade, Oreki checked his student ID card and called up the system prompts. Side mission. Task requirement, in the small island exam, get the initiative of Class D and turn Class D into a cash machine. Remaining period of task, 2 days. Task reward, recovery ability is improved, and the period of healing ability will be extended. Mission punishment, when using clairvoyance, your eyes will become cross-eyed, and your charm value will be reduced by 20. Task progress, 99%. The task I received was to take the small island exam and then carve up Class D, while also taking the initiative in Class D. The tool he chose was Gaoyuanji Liasuk. The alternative and genius of Class D. The opponent's degree of completion was also very high, but when teacher Mashima announced the test results, the system's progress also increased rapidly, but stopped at 99%. And it's still like this. So are there any missing parts? Think so. Beep. Beep. Congratulations to the host for completing the side mission. Oreki noticed that he heard 2 voices at the same time. One is the sound of a mobile phone receiving a message. The other one is the system's task prompt sound. The message he received was an invitation from Kojinji Temple to invite him and Horikita Suzun to participate in the celebration banquet for the Kojima examination this time. It should be said that Yuanji's body is indeed in good shape, but he abused himself because of the rule the leader cannot be changed without legitimate reasons, and then he looked sick in the morning. But when he was holding red wine on the ship, he was full of life again. Oreki-san is quite skeptical about Kojinji or the limits of having a human body. But congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, improved recovery ability. Does it strengthen resilience? Resilience ability, this is an incidental ability to unlock the superpower physique, but the effect is quite good. It can restore damaged items to the way they were before they were damaged a day ago. It can also provide first aid-like treatment effects and restore other people's physical condition to the previous day. And, it's like having unlimited refills. As long as you have contact every day, you can prevent other people's illnesses from coming back. Certainly. That also requires daily contact. I'm afraid it's difficult for couples to do this. Therefore, if this ability can be strengthened and extended over time, it will still be very effective. Beep. While Oreki-san was thinking, a new reminder appeared in his mind. Restore ability enhancement, can restore items or creatures to the state of the previous week at the same time. You can jump out of the state that must be damaged, including menstruation can also return to the time when it has not yet come. For it. I don't want this anymore. Oreki-san touched his head with his left hand. He was not that perverted. However, this enhancement seems to be moving in the direction he expected. In other words, you can choose to restore the items or the person's state a week ago. This ability is actually somewhat unbelievable. For example, if you are sick now, but you were not sick a few days ago, you can restore your current physical condition to the state it was in any week before you became sick. You can choose a state where you are not sick. Then when the time comes, the disease that you didn't suffer from will not return to your body. But this is not enough. Oreki Houtarou knew from his precognitive dream on the ship that Sakayanagi-san would date him in the future, to be precise, in his second grade next year. And she would drop out of school in the first semester of her second grade because of pregnancy. Although now, none of this has happened. What Oreki saw was a precognitive dream, but he actually existed, so he didn't say that he had to develop according to the dream. In other words, Oreki Houtarou can still choose not to date Sakayanagi Yuzu, and at the same time, he can also choose not to have an intimate relationship with him. And then save the scene where the other party gets pregnant and has to drop out of school. But Sakayanagi-san is quite cute, and if he said he was not interested at all, he would definitely be lying. And if you choose the other party, then you must be a responsible person. Her body has been suffering from congenital heart disease and she cannot live like a normal person. So if he has the ability and conditions, Oreki still wants to do something. Think so? He looked at the phone. I booked a private room in the Gabriel Archangel Hotel in the cabin. But I invited Horikita-san, but she didn't reply to my message by Kojinjiro Kusuke. Oh. Horikita-san didn't reply to him. And Oreki found another message on his phone. It belongs to Sakura Eri. Thank you for this Kojima exam, Oreki-san by Sakura Eri. Sakura Eri. When I first enrolled in school, I went to Class D to sell information, and then I happened to meet Yamauchi and the others discussing low-level things about our volume rankings. Then Sakura, who was dressed in a rustic manner, was brought into trouble by Yamauchi, who lied about Sakura being infatuated with him and other lies. Sakura-san, on the other hand, looked weak, helpless and pitiful. But this time in the Kojima exam, her true appearance was discovered by her classmates, and she was almost pursued. Result. While talking with Oreki-san, Yamauchi and the others abstained from returning to the ship that day. It made her feel at ease. So the message was sent. She is a bit introverted, but she is very natural in text messages. After taking another look at the information about Jyuan Temple, Oreki also sent a message to Horikita Suzuan. But none have been read. Or did Horikita-san not read the message? Sakura, have you seen Horikita Suzuan? Oreki sent the message to Sakura-san. Unlike Horikita-san, Sakura-san's message quickly indicated that it had been read. And what we got was, after boarding the ship, Hirata and Kushida classmates held a celebration party. However, Horikita-san did not participate. Sakura felt that Horikita-san might be feeling unwell. So I went back to my room to rest. Oreki-san suddenly understood that he did not hold hands with Horikita-san today, which meant that he had not applied the recovery buff to her. So, she had a cold a week ago due to staying up late reading and blowing on the air conditioner all night, and now she has a recurrence. As for the celebration party, postpone it. Your body has just recovered, so I suggest you keep in good health. Also, let me go and see Horikita Suzuan by Oreki. Oreki-san gave a quick reply to Kogendera and then started to leave his room. His tone towards Jyuanji seemed a little distant. In fact, it is also very alienating. Because Jyuanji is easy to use, 70% of the difficulty of this mission needs to be done by Jyuanji himself. Even at the end of the day, the leader of Class D was replaced, and all the self-inflicted illness and the like were born. Come down. But both Kojinji and Oreki-san understand. Unless Jyuanji drops out of school now, then Jyuanji will basically stop taking action. Because he has already obtained a shadow of 20 million points as long American Samoa he waits, he can accumulate 20 million points. Accomplish his goal. So Kojinji doesn't need to work any harder. As for accumulating points, the points can be used as living expenses or something. He is a son of a wealthy family and the successor of the Kojinji Zaibatsu. When Oreki-san collected 20 million points, he wanted to exchange them directly with Oreki in cash. So he is not short of money. Then it won't move anymore. So. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 167. Look at it this way. Sure enough, after going around for a while, the one who works best is Horikita-san. Oreki-san thought as he walked out of the room and closed the door. At the same time, he can also bring positive effects to her. Because I didn't shake hands with her today, that is to say, I didn't give her a physical recovery buff, so now she is probably feeling uncomfortable again. However, now the ability has been updated, and the current disease state can be directly jumped. It has become very convenient. Sakura, which room did you stay in on the ship? Please tell me your room number. Well, I don't mean anything else. I want to visit Horikita-san. Well, just tell me your room number. You don't have to come back specially. Oreki said quickly. Sakura-san is such a good person. When I heard that he came to visit Horikita-san, I immediately wanted to come back from the celebration party. But if it's better, then he probably felt that Horikita-san was alone in the dormitory and was worried about it, so he didn't go to the celebration party. Oreki ended the call with the kind-hearted Sakura-san. Then he continued walking towards the cabin. He felt a little pity. Because if Horikita Suzun is unwell, then Kushida should know about it. Previously, when Kushida took out the trash for him in the middle of the night, he said that she was ready to take care of Suzun Horikita to gain his favor. It shows that she is actually quite unhappy about not getting the favor of Horikita Suzun. As a result, Horikita is now really sick. But she had no preparation. Obviously she has been looking forward to this kind of thing. It seems that Kushida-san, your friendship with Horikita-san is still far away. Think so? Oreki came to the room number that Sakura-san provided for her, Horikita, and Kushida to share. Room 2312. The room is not very big, but probably all the students in Class D live in this row. 2310.2311.2312. Arrive. Oreki came over with his cell phone. I glanced at the room number marked 2312. He lowered his head and directly called up Horikita Suzun's number from the address book. Doo-doo. But no one answered the call. This is a little strange. Because standing at the door, Oreki-san, who already had the ability to break through human limits, could sense that there was someone in the room. So, will Horikita-san not answer his call? This is nothing like it. He has never been rejected by Horikita-san. In other words, is it impossible to answer the phone now? In other words, something might have happened. Boom. Without hesitation, Oreki raised his left foot towards the door lock. Boom. The door was kicked open, and the scene inside came into view. It was a girl with straight black hair who was posing with her white t-shirt rolled up. The sweatpants underneath were taken off. Wearing a complete set of black underwear with hollow patterns. She was stunned when she saw Oreki-san kicking the door open. Oreki-san also paused. Time seemed to stop at this moment. Horikita Suzun. Oreki-san. Their eyes met, quite awkward. Oreki-san's eyes quickly collected information, and then he came to a conclusion. Horikita Suzun is changing clothes. At the same time, underwear is a pleasure. And this is probably choosing a bad time to come here. Excuse me. Oreki Houtarou quickly closed the door and stepped out. However, because the door's lock was broken and he couldn't close it, He had to come back and close the door first, then stood at the door with his back to Horikita-san. Make sure she continues to change her clothes first. So, half an hour later, I went to find the staff on the ship and repaired the door lock. Oreki-san invited Horikita-san to go out together. The two went to the deck. I redid the bar where I sat a week ago. Horikita-san asked for a glass of boiled water as usual. Why do you think I was in trouble when I answered your call? Horikita-san said. Although she maintained an awe-inspiring aura, she seemed a little incomprehensible. In the process of inviting her out, Oreki-san had already explained. He was worried that something might happen to her, so he took the rash action. It's not like trespassing or anything like that. You didn't refuse my call, Oreki said. Then, I thought something might have happened to you over there. I sense you are in the house again. So this situation isn't quite right, Oreki said. Oh, however, after receiving this answer, Horikita-san seemed to become much quieter all of a sudden. Because she has had no friends since she was a child. If she finds that the person she wants to contact doesn't reply to her, then what she's thinking about is, whether the other person didn't reply on purpose, or something happened. So this way of thinking is quite compatible with hers. In other words, does Oreki-san think there is something wrong with him? Indeed. Susan Horikita said, after getting on the ship, I felt very heavy. Then I went back to the dormitory and took a nap. I just felt a little sweaty, and then I took a shower, Horikita-san said. So the scene just now was actually after taking a shower and then changing clothes. And the cold she had a week ago has recovered again. Then Oreki looked at her and got down to business. Stretch out your hand and shake it. A habit takes 3 days to develop and a week to consolidate. On the ship, he shook hands with Horikita-san. On the island, they also maintain the practice of shaking hands every day. It is said to increase experience points against Kushida-san's charm. And Horikita-san followed suit every time. But I don't want to do it anymore this time, Horikita-san refused. Why? The ability to recover requires him to touch an object or person to activate. So he couldn't treat her without skin-to-skin contact. Because it's useless. I hold hands with you every day. Aren't you still unable to resist Kushida's offensive? Horikita-san said with a straight face. In this plan, I only get 10%, which is the money you earn for 300 class evaluation points, but I can only get 10%, which is just 30 points. But you asked Kushida to guess the team leader, and she got 50 points. Obviously I am the collaborator, Horikita-san said. In other words, do you feel that it is unfair to her and that you are overly favoring Kushida-san? That's it, Oreki-san understood. This is to appease Kushida-san. Appease her, this word was something Susan didn't expect. Yet Oreki nodded. Do you think this exam is over? What's the meaning? Horikita-san thought she had heard new news. Remember the rules Mashima-sensei announced on the ship a week ago. The first special exam of this month begins now. We generally believe that there will be special exams every month, but we don't say they can only be held once a month. Especially, using such a costly ship, do you think you would be happy just taking the school exam like this? Oreki said. Well, from this angle, Horikita-san nodded. Indeed. If the students are just sent to a small island for exams, it would be a waste to use such a luxurious liner. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 168. So if she were in school, she would also choose to take more exams on the ship. That is to say, it's June 22 ND. According to the school rules that have been obtained, it is usually the end of month exam. So, there will be another exam next. And the ship is still circling the island with no intention of going back to school. So there is a high probability that the exam will be taken directly on the ship, Oreki said. Then, although the news is known, the content and direction of this exam are unknown. So we just have to get as much support as possible from the students. It will be easier to make arrangements when the time comes, Oreki said. I see. Horikita Susan nodded. Then she will understand why Oreki-san supports Class B. Then why do you want to increase Kushida's popularity? That is to say, the new exam requires Kushida's efforts. Then let Kushida take the blame. And with this in mind, although some of the students in Class D are really bad, they will definitely not listen to what you say. So if you let Kushida speak, you will definitely get good results, Oreki said. This explanation was the same as what she had just thought of. Susan thought it would be okay. At first, she felt that Oreki-san treated one person favorably and favored another. But think so. Then can we shake hands now, Oreki said. Horikita Suzuan. This statement means that he has not been captured by Kushida, or it is because he has not been captured that he can control Kushida. That is to say, her handshake training with Oreki these days must have come in handy. Think so. Susan then stretched out her palm. Her fingers are slender and white. However, my body temperature is slightly higher due to illness. Their hands were clasped together. It has a warm feeling when you hold it. Are you using the resilience, enhanced, version? Yes. Please select a time when resilience will be determined. Please select within 1 week from now. Choose to return to Horikita Susan's non-sick state yesterday. And almost at this moment, Horikita-san's clear pupils seem to be surprised. Even the body feels tense. She probably felt the changes in her body. That heavy feeling disappeared instantly, and my somewhat dizzy head became clear. This is the feeling of instant healing that I have experienced once. Oreki Houtarou happened to take out his hand at this time. Horikita Susan stared blankly at the left hand that she had just joined with Oreki Houtarou. She has some doubts about life now. My body suddenly recovered and got better, and I consulted with Sakura-san and concluded that she might be in love. The power of love is magical. Like a miracle. At that time, Susan felt that Sakura-san's statement was very unreliable. Because this is reality. How could it be so exaggerated? Then I looked at the books Sakura-san borrowed from the library, and they were nothing more than fantasy novels like Peter Pan. So, Sakura-san is probably stuck in a romance novel. And after that, Susan shook hands with Oreki-san a few more times. Also, once a day. She doesn't feel anything special either. But now, this feeling has returned. Even if she wanted to deny it, she was sure that the moment she shook hands with Houtarou Oreki and made skin-to-skin contact, an incredible sense of recovery swept over her. Then the negativity of the body disappears. So, does she actually like Oreki Houtarou? Horikita Suzuan, who had never experienced romance before and didn't think she needed to experience romance in high school, was in a daze. Hey, you two are obviously in different classes, but you end up sticking together every time you have some free time. And then a familiar voice came. Just listening to this voice, Oreki-san and Horikita Susan ignored it. Let me guess, are you already dating? The other party said. I thought you actually liked itchy nose. Oreki. Oreki looked at Horikita-san. Horikita Susan was still looking at her hands. Didn't pay attention to Long Yuan. Horikita-san must have felt a physical change. But now Long Yuan is quite noisy. Then Oreki-san stood up. Ryuan, congratulations on getting 0 points in this exam, Oreki said. Long Yuan. The person who came to disturb them was Ryuan Sho, who had red hair parted in the middle. Ryuan probably took a shower and then changed back into his normal school uniform. He seems to be quite energetic. At the same time, the current Long Yuan also brought Albert back with him. Then he seemed to be quite leisurely with a glass of Coke. He took a hearty sip. During the week on the island, he could only survive in the wilderness, eating snakes or frogs. So this kind of hedonic food of human civilization? Not at all. You're quite troublesome, Oreki-san said. So, how many points do you have back on your phone now? Long Yuan. As soon as he heard this, Long Yuan suddenly felt that the drink in his hand didn't taste good. Are you trying to defraud me of money again? Long Yuan said directly. It's not a scam, Oreki-san said. I just think you are annoying, so can I go somewhere else first? Hee hee. Ryuan has a lot of old and new grudges against Oreki Houtarou. This time, he prepared for the small island exam, but he still failed miserably. Although the students in the class found it a pity that he failed in guessing the team leader, they did not start to rebel yet. But for Class D, it actually surpassed it. There wasn't much anger either. Because on the first day on the island, they also experienced the nausea of Jiyuan Temple together. After grinding so many strongholds and getting this score, I basically didn't want to accept it, but I knew it would be like this. So the current class situation is fairly stable. And this was because they didn't know that Ibuki and Ishizaki's trick was recorded by Class B, and they asked Class B's homeroom teacher Hashinomi Yachie to film it. So wait until the ship comes back to school. The students in Class B will immediately report it to the student union. At that time, just as the teacher on the board said, Class C will directly score -100 points. That is to say, his situation is not good either. 100 points will be deducted after being reported. Then through the agreement with Class B, you can get 600,000 living expenses worth 150 points every month. All in all, I only got 50 points in this exam. And what can you do with 50 points? This exam is almost a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for sophomores and juniors to improve their scores and scores. Result: he worked for a long time and found nothing. Deficit. I still have 50,000 points on my phone now, Long Yuan said. Oreki. Horikita Suzun. Oreki glanced at Horikita-san, but Horikita-san didn't respond. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 169. Then let's say 50,000, Oreki said. I have some good news for you. Oreki-san said. There are 2 special exams this month, and the second time is either tonight or tomorrow. Long Yuan. In other words, before returning to school and before being reported to the student union by the students in Class B and deducted points, is there another exam? If it is like this, then you can indeed do some deployment. Perhaps the tragic ending of this exam can be rewritten. After all, in the past, the second and third grade students had great success in this exam, and in the end, he got 50 points or something. He does not want. Besides, beep. 50,000 points have been credited to your account. Oreki-san received a transfer on his mobile phone. It was from Long Yuan. As before, Long Yuan paid readily. Then it's probably the same as before. You actually sold such important news to me for only 50,000 points, Long Yuan said. Oreki Houtarou, you are so calm. Then in the next exam. Wait until I defeat you, he said. In other words, does Long Yuan feel confident again? No, there isn't. Because Oreki himself is in Class A now, and Ichi knows from Class B owes him a favor, and Kushida-san is also buried in Class D as the scapegoat. So when it comes to taking exams, the 3 classes are all in a network of interconnected relationships. So it's useless no matter how you prepare, Long Yuan. Because 3 of their classes had open book exams. So telling Long Yuan the news was just to trick Long Yuan into leaving. Oreki looked at Horikita Suzune. Horikita-san seems to be still in a daze. As for Oreki-san, he was actually in a daze. I don't know what Horikita-san thinks. But he knew it. What comes to mind right now is the sight of Horikita-san changing her underwear in her room. It's actually quite shocking. Because Horikita Suzune gave him the impression that she was a pretty serious girl. Awesome temperament. It seems to be the flower of the high mountains. Then I also saw Horikita-san's weak appearance when he was threatened by Horikita's brother to drop out of school. In the end, neither appearance could sway him. But just now, look at the other person's underwear. This suddenly made him realize. Horikita Suzune is not just a super beautiful top girl. She is also a very attractive and impressive girl. And just when I held hands with the other person, the main purpose was to skip her disease, which was equivalent to curing her. But there was actually an impulse in my heart. That urge is the urge to make skin-to-skin contact with the other person. And this state of affairs is obviously wrong. Because how can you see someone change their underwear once and then be shaken? Oreki had read a book and knew that if you wanted to have skin-to-skin contact with the other person, it might be a sign of attraction, which meant that love was coming. However, he knew it too. If it is a love affair, then this is definitely not a love affair, at most it is lust. We'll contact you after the exam, Oreki said. Horikita Suzune. So Horikita-san, who was troubled, also went back to rest. Oreki, on the other hand, used Sakura-san again. Then I quickly found the place where Class D had a dinner party. He walked to the corner corridor outside the restaurant. He took out his phone and sent a message. Soon, a cute girl with short blonde hair walked out of the restaurant. She was also holding her phone and seemed to be looking down at the message. Only, just when he reached the corner, he was suddenly hugged from behind. Well, Kushida-san seemed startled and was about to scream. But there was a familiar boy's voice behind me. It's me, this was Oreki-san's voice. Ha! Are you crazy? But Kushida-san's tone was not good, or he suddenly turned into Kuro Kushida. Because this guy Oreki Houtarou called her out, and the result was he going to attack her? This kind of thing. It'll only take a few seconds, Oreki-san said. Can offset one next week. Oh. If this offsets once a week, then it's still acceptable. Think so. Kushida noticed that Oreki-san let her go and then hugged her head on. For it. This kind of contact is not impossible. Rather, I always feel like, there seems to be something wrong with Oreki Houtarou. Because it's like he's just, craving her. Longing for her? As a little angel, Kushida-san knows his dark side, but he also shows his sunny side to everyone. Just like an angel. So I often listen to the gossips of some classmates and friends. I also know that they talk about topics such as love and dating. She definitely has no interest in these topics. Because as long as you have someone to date, you won't be able to focus on your friends. At the same time, dealing with relationships is also very troublesome. So she stayed away from these things. And here is Oreki Houtarou. Indeed. He was caught by the other party for kicking the railing and scolding Horikita. It became weekly. And the mood is also a little subtle. Although it is very embarrassing for her every time, she always feels that she feels better every time. And kicking railings is prohibited. But they also got the opportunity to dump trash on each other. So from this perspective, Oreki is also a good person. To be precise, after knowing her true nature, I still haven't stayed away from her. This made her a little uncomfortable. But it is undeniable that she relies on this feeling. Moreover, Oreki Houtarou is often used as a love card for her to socialize with her senior classmates. Take some photos of each other to socialize and so on. He is very popular with girls. As a somewhat subtle girl, Kushida does not deny that Oreki Houtarou is very good looking. Among boys, she has good looks. To say I don't like it, I definitely don't like it, but to say I completely hate it is not that exaggerated. After all, to him, she was the channel through which he gained experience points. And so is she. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 170. It also passively increases experience. So, now that I suddenly desire her so much, could it be said that I mean to her? Kushida-san found that he also had a feeling of excitement. But when I think about it, she found herself being let go. Okay, Oreki said. Oh. Kushida returns to his cute self. Then why did you suddenly act like that just now? I saw Horikita-san changing clothes, Oreki said. I feel very shaken inside. But I also know that it is definitely not a relationship. So decided to test it out. Decided to test it out. In other words, you are so attracted to Horikita Suzune after looking at her. Then I was not sure if I was attracted to Horikita Suzune. Then have to test it? Look at other girls' underwear. Kushida reacted quickly and became the substitute test subject. Then, Oreki Houtarou actually looked like he had no interest in her after hugging her. In other words, treat her as a test subject and then still have no interest in her? Really? Oreki Houtarou and so on, so annoying. When I think about it. Diddy. Oreki's cell phone rang. The phone he held in his left hand had an incoming call reminder on it. And the name is Sakayanagi Arisu. Oreki glanced at Kushida, and Kushida-san took 2 steps back, pretending not to listen. Oreki chose to answer the call. Oreki-san. First of all, congratulations on your good grades. It was the cute and sweet voice of classmate Sakayanagi. However, my luck seems to be very bad today, she added. I made tea 3 times in a row today, and the tea stems are all down. So. Oreki-san, what are you doing now? I would like to know. Doing what? Oreki glanced at Kushida. Kushida-san discovered that the voice coming from Oreki's cell phone was a girl's. He looked over with disgust, then turned and left. Chapter 081 Sakayanagi Yuzo calls you. The examination for preferential treatment candidates begins. Next. Kushida-san left with a look of disgust on his face. Oreki-san continued to talk to Sakayanagi Yuzo. I'm rarely in a good mood today. So I made some tea. I'm obviously thinking about how Oreki-san and my classmates are doing in the exam. Sakayanagi Yuzo's voice was still quite cute. But her rhetoric is more unique. As a result, all the tea stems sank. Forget it once, it ended up being 3 times. It's really hard not to think of something, she said. So, Oreki-san, can you tell me what you are doing now? Generally speaking, making tea leaves with floating stems is a sign of good luck. It is indeed concerning that the tea stems cannot float after 3 times of brewing. But ultimately, what Sakayanagi-san wanted to ask was what he was doing. Oreki-san. If the 2 of them are in a relationship, then I'm afraid Sakayanagi-san's ability to catch an adulterer is not at its maximum. But Oreki-san knows very well that he has never confessed his love to anyone. At the same time, there's no way to explain this. In the precognitive dream, you can know that lawyer Horikita is his wife 10 years later, and classmate Sakayanagi is his girlfriend. It may also be the person you cheat on after marriage. At the same time, Kurosawa-san is also very fond of him. So, how to choose? This is a very troublesome decision. He admitted that it was easy to be swayed by Sakayanagi-san's cuteness. And Horikita-san, who had always felt that their relationship was average, felt strongly shaken after seeing the appearance of the other person's underwear. He always thought that youth was gray, but when he came here, extraordinary things happened, which were completely the color of roses. So he doesn't know who is true love. Think about it for a while. This time the island exam is over. Oreki-san spoke in a business-like manner. In this exam, our class received a class evaluation score of 471, Oreki said. As a price, Class D needs to be paid 800,000 private points every month until graduation. Oh. Sakayanagi Arisu seemed a little dissatisfied with Oreki-san for filling her with business matters. Yayo could imagine her curling her lips on the other side of the computer. But she still nodded slightly. Then it's consistent with what I know. Sakayanagi Yuzu revealed the reason why she called. After your exams, the first year bulletin board has been updated with information by people from the student union. That is to say, Sakayanagi Yuzu probably also saw the current results. Class A 1801 points. Class B 970 points. Class C 490 points. Class D, 730 points. In other words, in this exam, Class A scored at 471 points, Class B at 300 points, Class C at 0 points, and Class D at 650 points. Class D may be the biggest winner. But Sakayanagi-san didn't seem to care at all. Then when will you come back? She seemed to be more concerned about this. It will probably take a while, Oreki-san said. I know from the seniors that the sophomores and juniors received a lot of marks and points in this month's exams. But all you can see now is the score. The points that matter are not there yet. So I think there will be another exam before I go back. I think so too, Sakayanagi Yuzu said. That's why I called you, but since Oreki-san has found out, I can only wish you good luck in martial arts. As before, since he did not take part in the exam this time, Sakayanagi Arisu authorized the action capabilities of the members of his faction to Oreki. After a while, Oreki found that he had received a message from a member of the Sakayanagi faction on his mobile phone. He said that he had received the order from Princess Sakayanagi and would obey his orders before returning to school. However, the information about the people from the Sakayanagi faction has been confirmed one by one. Oreki discovered that a person who could be ranked number 2 in the Sakayanagi faction had not yet replied to him. That is Kamuro-san. Is this an oversight by Sakayanagi-san? Or, after ending the call with Sakayanagi Arisu, Oreki walked out of the corner, stood for a while, and then looked back. Behind him, standing at the corner, was a tall girl with long purple hair. She is tall and has slender legs, but she doesn't like stockings or pantyhose, and often wears them in the form of socks. And this is Kamuro-san. Is it fun to follow me? Oreki-san asked. There was only one reason why Kamuro didn't reply to him immediately, she was nearby. So you can come and report directly. Watching Kamuro-kun come out. Then it's the same as before, Oreki said. In the exam before going back to school, Kamuro-san, your right to belong belongs to me first. I may need some action from you. Oh. Kamuro-san listened indifferently. This means that she has to do her best in this exam. Wait a moment. Is there another exam? Maesumi Kamuro looked sharply at Oreki-san. Because wasn't Kojima's exam just finished this morning?